Jeff, what's your grandfather's name? Jeff? Judy, if you know your grandfather's name, you just let me know.
It's Yehuda ben Yisrael Isser.
Yehuda ben
Yisrael Isser.
Israel Isser. So today is his yahrzeit. Should have Aliyas Neshama. Also part of the Shiur Bez Hashem. Okay, let's get started. Sorry, Jeff, I changed the subject at the last minute. Share screen. Shit. I'm going to talk. There's so much to talk in this parsha. There's so many secrets hinted here that it's very hard to choose. I didn't know if I was going to talk about the bracha, or I'm going to talk about the table. You know, what Moshe Rabbeinu hints in two places. I decided that I'm going to talk about the table. And it's called connected anyway. So let's start the pasuk. We're only going to start one pasuk, the beginning of a pasuk. That's what we're going to deal with. This pasuk. Kol ha-mitzvah. So here already there's a grammatical error. Ha-mitzvah is singular. Kol includes, means there's more than one. So how can you tell me there's more than one and right away you tell me there is one? Kol mitzvah, every mitzvah you could have said. But not ha-mitzvah, the mitzvah. Asher anochi metzavecha, that I'm ordering you today. So he's talking to the Bnei Israel in a singular language. In the whole parsha will be singular. But right away he goes, Tishmerun la'asos. You will have to keep and accomplish. Plural. Leman tichyun, so you will be able to live and multiply. Plural, plural, plural. And then you will come and inherit the land. Asher nishba Hashem la'avoseichem, plural. Okay, I don't have a problem with the plural, but then be consistent. If you're talking to the Bnei Israel, to each individual, and you want to use a singular tense, fine, use a singular tense. You're going to start after that, Vay'ancha vayarivecha. Oh, back to singular. Vayachilcha esama. Boom, singular. Lemano idiacha, singular. And the whole parsha will be singular after that. So why just here you're using a plural tense? Second problem we have here is the Gemara in Kiddushin is pretty clear about this. It's stating that schar mitzvah b'hai alma lika. There's never, I'm not going to say too long on questions today. I realize I spent too much time on questions. So schar mitzvah b'hai alma lika. There's the reward of a mitzvah in this world, it's not, cannot exist. Why? Some say because the whole entire world, I mean, you cannot pay for one mitzvah. The price of a mitzvah is so humongous that it cannot be paid in the world. And some others say because the mitzvah is only going to be paid at the end. Whatever. I don't want to go into this today, but one thing we know, they all agree that there's no reward of a mitzvah. So what he means, leman tichyun, so you will live. And the pasuk, what did he say again after that? Lemant urvisem, and you will multiply uvasem, and you'll come reach them as ares. That's the way you will inherit the land of Eretz Yisrael. That sounds like a reward. Leman. For this, that's the purpose. So how can you tell me the Torah on one hand, and nobody in the Gemara asked from this pasuk? No one asked a question. I mean, sometime in the Gemara, they come with a statement, and there will be a discussion, you know, if the statement is true or not true, or some people have questions from a pasuk, but no, nobody raised the question. You know, Asher anochi metzavecha hayoim. Now keep on going with the Kriyashma. Le'ahava es Hashem Elokecha b'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha. And then again in the Kriyashma you will have v'nosatim et ha'atzechem be'itoi. In other words, yes, there are instances where the Torah prescribes that there is a reward. So how can you tell me blanketly like this, there's no reward? So remember, I'm going to focus on two things. The mitzvah, because there's a grammatical error here. Kol ha-mitzvah, and we're going to go on the reward. How is it possible that the pasuk relay that there is a reward when Chazal all accept that there's no reward possible of a mitzvah in this world? Look at the Pshat Pashut where we're starting, and look where we're going to end in a total different world. Total different world, but not the next or the next or the next. No, million of light years from where we started. Incredible. The Ramban comes explain the pasuk very simply and states that Moshe Rabbeinu, before V'haya Ekev Tishmeu, at the beginning of the parsha, told them to keep the mishpatim. Mishpatim are the laws, the monetary laws. Now he's coming to tell them about the mitzvah, all the other mitzvahs. And if you keep those mitzvahs, then only if you keep them all, then you will be rewarded. The Ramban is adding difficulty over difficulty. Why? Because the Midrash explains what are these words. So you leave, urvisem, and you're going to expand or multiply. What are these? What do you mean you will leave? Why? Because the Russia doesn't leave. When we see the Russia leaving, and pretty well off actually. You know, this raises questions. So since when someone who's not keeping the mitzvahs is dead? He's not dead. He's not dying. Sorry. We see a lot of people that Mechal Shabbos, they still live. And Ramban, Kodesh Kodashim, you don't have a problem with your Rishon, and the Gemara states clearly, and you wrote on it, that's Schar Mitzvah Ba'al Mahaden Leika. There's no Schar Mitzvah. There's no possibility of a reward of a mitzvah in this world. How come you have no problem? And when I said he's adding a layer of difficulty, is because the Midrash Tanchuma explains like this. Leman tichyu chayim. A person needs three things to live. Chaye, life. Bane, children. Mezoine, panasa. You cannot take away one of them. Otherwise, you're going to hit the Gemara in Nedarim, which states that a poor person, chashuv kemeis, someone who has chas v'shalom no children, chashuv kemeis, and so forth. A person is considered dead if he's missing one of the three components. You cannot have what we call a life in this world unless you have these three goodness from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Chaye Bane Mezoine. And he explains the three things the Pasuk mentions are the Tanchuma against Chaye Bane Mezoine. So, Ramban, I don't understand. You telling me that if the person accomplishes all the mitzvahs, then this bracha will, will befall upon that person. But it's not right. What? Okay, when he starts 1 to 6:13, that's not every mitzvah comes every day. So he's not going to have this. How is he going to live? And how many tzaddikim do we see that suffer poverty, that suffer terrible yisurim? How do you make it that it's a trade or it's a conditional bracha? You do my mitzvahs, I give you life. You don't do my mitzvahs, I don't give you life. Whoa! Since when have we seen that? But these are the clear words of the Rambam. Now you can add to the Pada Midrash Tanchuma. So now Bane Chaye Mezoine. You remember what's Bane Chaye Mezoine? Equals 203. Like Be'er. Meaning the well, the upper well needs to provide, which is the Malchus, needs to provide to every person in order to be able to stop living. Bane Chaye Mezoine. They all come from the Malchus. That's why the Malchus sometimes it's called Be'er. Midrash Tanchuma in here on the Parsha in Eikev will go to the other side of earth to try to give us a pshat now, because everybody understands that this psukim cannot be explained with just a simple translation. So how do we explain this psukim? He says, Moshe Rabbeinu warns them of the importance. When you start a mitzvah, you need to finish it. In other words, the mitzvah itself cannot be called as such a mitzvah while you are doing it. It's only when you completed it that the name of mitzvah comes. That's when you're getting something out of it. That's the mitzvah. I don't know if when I said it, probably in Pashas Devarim, many times we explain that in mitzvah, what's the secret of the word mitzvah? Why HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to do mitzvah? Mitzvah. Here we see we have two letters of the Yud Kei Vav Kei. That's not bad. It's a coincidence, mitzvah, fine. We have those here. But really here, in Atbash, means if I replace the letters Ahad, it's called Atbash. Aleph, Taf, Beis, Shin, Gimel, Reish, and so forth. So if you take Yud, it's Mem. If you take Hey, it's Tzadik. Yud, Kei, Vav, Kei. When you do a mitzvah, basically you're unifying the name of Hashem. So why is he not exposed, the Yud, Kei? Because really you're working on here. With the mitzvah, you're working here. On the Vav, Hey. Kutsha Berichu, Vav, Shchinte, Hey. Shchina is the last Hey. So here we have Chochma, Bina. So, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, represented by the Vav. I'm shocking you here, huh? How can HaKadosh Baruch Hu be under Chochmah and Bina? Because these are the children. What we call HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm not going to give it, I'm getting out of subject here, but it's good you hear that once. What we call HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we don't refer to Kucha Berichu per instance, per se. We refer to Yud Kei Vav Kei, which is the name of God. What we call him HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But what we call Alpi Kabbalah Kucha Berichu, it's connected to the Shechina, is the one providing to the Shechina. So anyway, the real name of Hashem is this. All the others are only clothes and filters because of the light and everything. That's the name. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself, no one knows what it is and where and how. Even the malachim that serve him, that close to him, they say, where is he? What do you mean, where is he? He's all over the world. It means nobody can chap. Even malachim, the highest level of malachim, cannot grasp the beginning of what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is. And this is, the Das can never reach that. And we have to accept. So when we do a mitzvah, we're doing in the Vav Hei. So meaning we are completing the name of Hashem, which is Yud Ke Vav Ke, Aleph Dalet Nun Yud, together, Amen. Malach, Sukkah, 91. And this happens, says the Midrash, only when you're finishing a mitzvah. So Moshe Rabbeinu tells you, Kol ha-mitzvah, watch out. You have to do every mitzvah till the end, till the name mitzvah is chal on it. When the name of mitzvah is called upon your action. Okay, it doesn't answer the grammar. I understand the concept. It's pretty nice. And he gives an example that when Moshe Rabbeinu brought, while Bnei Israel were busy trying to get money from the Egyptians, he went to the Nile and tried to get the bones of Yosef. And he took them through the desert. But when it's recorded in Divrei Hayamim, which is the last of the Treyasar, when the book of recording, everything, it says the Bnei Israel brought up the Atzmos Yosef, the bones of Yosef, and they buried them. They brought them up from Mitzrayim to Eretz Israel, and they buried them in Shechem. But it's not true. It's Moshe Rabbeinu. Says the Midrash, here you have a proof that a mitzvah is only called upon the one who finishes it. Why? Because the word mitzvah only applies when the mitzvah is completed. A half mitzvah. Moshe Rabbeinu was forbidden to go into Eretz Israel. Too bad. He didn't complete the mitzvah for whatever reason. So it's not his mitzvah. This midrash is really, really, really mind-boggling. And remember, these are the Tanaim Akdoshim. The Midrash Tanchuma is all the Tanaim. So obviously, whenever they say something, so now we have the Ramban, do all the mitzvahs. We have do the singular mitzvah, but it doesn't work in the grammar. We have finished the mitzvah. Okay, can we have a clear shot here to understand what's going on? Because now you're touching my life. You're telling me that I will deserve the components necessary for me to live only upon completion of a mitzvah. Which mitzvah? Oh, now we're starting asking questions. Nobody reveals. But if it's so important, what not revealing it? If the life of a person depends on that mitzvah, please tell me, at least the mitzvah. Tell me which mitzvah we're talking about. Even the Goraya is it's in 1600 an Achroin, but at the beginning of the Achroinim, who always explains and answers the language of Rashi. Even himself faced the wall, because no matter he took it, he says grammatically it doesn't work. And the only thing he says that could be said is because sometimes the Torah is called ha-mitzvah, the mitzvah. Everything is encompassed into the word because everything is a mitzvah. And we have the impression the mitzvah is to please Hashem. And we're going to be a little bit surprised what truly the mitzvah is and what it is for and what mitzvah we're talking about. There's a Zohar, it's called the Saba de Mishpatim. So Shin Bar Yochai used to learn with a lot of neshamas. Sometimes it was Eliyahu Novi, sometimes it's Koraya Mehemna, it's Moshe Rabbeinu they used to learn, comment and give a shir. Here we in Saba de Mishpatim, Rabbi Yiba Saba, a college. And he's going to explain the following pasuk. It says in Pashas Mishpatim, you know very well, we're talking about the slave, 6 years, you have to work, and on the 7th, he has to go free. So the pasuk says, V'chi yimkoir ish, if a person sells as bitoi his daughter, le'ama as a slave, lo yiseitze ketzei so'avadim. She is not bound to go out by the same rules as the slaves. In other words, there in the Torah, it's described that if someone bought a Bas Yisrael as a slave, he either has to marry her or give her to his son as a wife. Otherwise, he has to free her. He's not allowed to use her. He cannot keep a Bas Yisrael. It's a tremendous subject, this. There maybe next round, or I'm going to talk about this whole inyan of the Eved and the Shivcha. You know, usually when you look at it, you bought a slave. Okay, this is Uncle Sam's case. You know, he's going to live into his little. No, you bought a master. The proof is from the Amma. So the Rabbi Yiba Saba on this comes because it's unexplainable by Pshat, this pasuk. Who is the idiot who's going to buy an Amma? He's going to spend his money, buy a person, buy a slave, but he cannot use her as a slave. So why would you go pay for her? Explain the Zohar HaKadosh in Saba de Mishpatim. V'chim kor ish. Ish is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. As bitoi, it's the neshama. Le'ama, he gave it to you as a slave because the body controls the neshama. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, please, my children. I don't know if I explained this last week in the Shiur for those who heard it. The way it works in the world, it's always a kernel like Earth. And then it has a crust over it, and then another, and then another, and then another. There's HaKadosh Baruch Hu. First layer, Bnei Israel. Second layer, Malachim. Malachim get only what Bnei Israel generate as bracha, because malachim also have to eat. They are beings. They have needs. And even though it's not the same type as the one of the humans, however, they have needs. But they cannot, they have no power to do. They're not doers. The only doers is us. So that's why with the first cross, and once we do, it reverberates to all the outside crust. And we provide to the whole. So in other words, all the money, all the wealth, all the rains, all the bracha that comes to the world came because of a mitzvah done by a Ben Israel or multiple Bnei Israel and he goes up the mitzvah, he puts Vav Hey, HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the Shechina, HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends light, the sun to the moon becomes is lit, and then shines upon down the lower world. And when he shines the sun, he shines for everybody, right? So when the bracha comes through the Shechina, comes for everybody. So here, but we have a little tweak. That's what we're going to learn from the Zohar. Don't return it like a slave. Which are the slaves? The Sitra Achra. I sent you a part of God, a godly part, which means directly connected to Hashem. It's a sparkle from Hashem himself. Chelek Eloika Mimal, the neshama. Don't soil it. HaKadosh Baruch Hu begs the person, when it's going to become time that I will take it back, return it like a ben chorin, like a free, meaning like a clean. As the Zohar says himself, has to be clean, because if you return it clean, it's going to go back to the heichal of the neshamas, and it will have a tag on it. It belongs to this and this person. And when will come the time of Techiyah, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will resurrect the dead, he will go back to that same body. However, if Chas v'Shalom, the person is not acting correctly, not doing mitzvahs, in contrary, is doing averos and is soiling his neshama, Hashem says that you are forcing me to find another body where to send it in order to clean the shmutz you have put in that neshama. In other words, this neshama will never come back to you. In other words, that neshama was supposed to give you life, because body is a dead piece of meat. The only reason the body is alive, it's because there is a ruach, a neshama. As soon as the neshama leaves, the body goes back to its stage, is dead. I forgot who was the uncle of Onkelos. I always forget. Hadrian. Emperor Hadrian. Told him not to, because he saw that his nephew was brilliant. He gave him all the best professors and everything. And he had something missing. After all the philosophy that he has learned, his master was Aristotle, and in philosophy, so he passed Aristotle. And he said, all this, now I see, it's fake, it's missing. So Hadrian used to love talking to him because he was so bright, that kid. And he saw that his philosophy was nothing you can retort, nothing you can answer, was clear. And he saw that he was attracted to Judaism. He told him, I forbid you. You can do anything you want in life, but I forbid you to get close to these people. So he got smart, Onkelos, and he said, so his uncle, he wanted to travel, see the world. His uncle gave him money. So he asked him an advice in business. What should I invest this money in? He told him, look for a merchandise that's very cheap. Because anything that's down cheap will go back up at a certain point. It's a cycle. Then you will make a lot of money. He traveled, he went to Israel. We all know the story. He was this guy here and everything. And he became Onkelos Atana, who wrote the Targum that was given. So he got it Beruach HaKodesh, which was given in Har Sinai with the Halast. And he recorded it. Look at the schus of the Onkelos. So Adrian got mad. He sent him a battalion of soldiers to bring him back. Soldiers go there. And he goes out when he hears there's a battalion of Romans that came to talk to him. He came out, greeted them nicely. Please come in. First, before we talk about what your mission, let's go sit down and eat. And he started feeding them his philosophy and what the Torah is about, what he does to the man. They all say, we want to convert. They're all converted. Adrian is waiting. The soldiers don't come back. So he's sending a message. What happened? He learned that they converted. Got mad. He said, I'm going to send better soldiers and I'm going to warn them. Go and take him. Don't even talk to him. They go. Something happens. He talks to them. They're being convinced. They're misguided. He doesn't see them for a little while. Hadrian coming back. He understood what happened. He took now people that he trusted. And he told them, please don't talk because he's going to convince you. He has a power, this Onkelos. And he will convince you. So don't listen to him. I promised him, the Romans, everything, will bring him back. Unfortunately for them, he greeted them so nicely. Please come and eat. And they were hungry, thirsty, from the way. They didn't escape him. They converted. He laughed at it and he says, so he sent him a letter, please come visit me because I won't harm you. Whatever, he went there. It's a very interesting story also, when the first exchange. But we see here something very, very clearly. Very, very clearly. When a person is raising his goof to his neshama, he lives. When a person lowers his neshama to his goof, he dies. The goof is dead. Let me show you something. Just to crystallize this. Torah started v'haya ekev tishmeun es hamishpatim ha'ele. Not like chukim, like every time Torah did. No, hamishpatim. The parsha talks about hamishpatim. Hamishpatim equals 484. Equals guf neshama. This whole parsha is not about guf, ruach, nefesh, neshama. No, it's the antipodes. Guf and neshama. That's the war. Who's going to win? And we'll see that it's not only about because it's a financial thing. Everything will be exactly on the antipodes. So let's keep on. So if the person, we finally, before, I told you that story. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu begs the person to return the neshama in a proper way and in a proper level Why? Because leman tichyun. Oh, not now. We're talking for after. Oh yeah. What did you think? Chaye bane mezoine you will have. You will receive its part. Remember when we gave the shiur in Parshas what was it? Chukas Balak Pinchas. That the neshama goes into a heichal and decide what it wants, and it takes with him. He looks at his life, his life's gonna be, and he said, so in his allowed, the neshama is allowed to take anything it wants from that heichal down below. And we said some people choose beauty, some no, I don't want to be, because he sees the weakness of his midas he's going to have in that body, and according to that calculate. So the person, the life a person has, that's what we said, these are the words we said, is exactly what the neshama shows as best for him to go through the stage what we call life. Leman tichyun, so that you will be able to live. And why plural? Because you have two lives now in account. This life and next life. Both are depending on that, what we call the mitzvah. We still don't know what mitzvah it is. But since we know we have this guf neshama, we can guess already. We can guess which mitzvah we're talking. The hardest mitzvah, which all the mitzvahs depend on. Which is a mitzvah? When you go to shul, you daven, you're not involving really the outside world with your tefillah. You're not on your phone, on your thing. When you learn Torah, you have a Gemara in front of you, Shulchan Aruch, Sefer Musar, you have something. However, there's one mitzvah where you must use the Yetzer Hara constantly. You cannot accomplish that mitzvah without using. So every mitzvah, you're trying to use the powers of the Yetzer Hara. But there is one mitzvah and one only, two really. But there's one that is the base of all the other mitzvahs. Which one? Eating. Sitting down at your table and eating is the foundation from all the mitzvahs. Kol ha-mitzvah. Yeah, we should have said it in plural, but not. They all come back to one singular mitzvah. All the mitzvahs depend on only one thing. How do you behave on your table? Is your table, the malach is going to take it, as we said, in Parshas Vayakhel, when we gave the shiur on the table, Vayomer zeh hashulchan asher lifnei Hashem. The three malachim coming down, taking the table of a person where the Torah was said and tzedakah was given, and they bring it to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and say, this is the present so-and-so is making to you. And it says, then they say the pasuk, this table stands before Hashem. Or will it be, I want to show you this pasuk, it's a hard pasuk, so. Oh man, I can believe. You see, I always kept it. Now we're going to be able to use it again today. Whoa, that's a shortcut for me. Where is the pasuk? I didn't write it. Stop sharing. Let me go to my, I need to give you that pasuk. Let's share it. That pasuk. In the zone. There it is. Okay. Now I have it. Here it is. Now I'm going to share and I'll show you the process. We're going to have the two extremes. Kichol shulchanos, all the tables, mal'uki, they're full of vomit, and soya, and well, someone has a good word for this. Doesn't put off everybody. Please tell me. Soya is excrements. Beli mokim. There's not even a place free of it. Says the Zohar, key is the male nachash. Soya is the female nachash. When a person jokes around, says nivulpe, soil his mouth on the table, when it's all leitzanus, it's all, nothing is holy in his Akhila, then he falls into the key and soya. His table is not going up. He's not getting the bracha from his table. On one hand, we have the one who says that Vatera says Mizmor LeDavid, says something and give tzedakah on his table. Zei hashulchan asher lifnei Hashem. You remember, since I have it here, let's go through it a second. What's the purpose of the shulchan? To bring the world of Behema. We're going to use the power of the Yetzer Hara. We are feeding ourselves. Usually we are givers. Now we have to become takers. So what will be the difference? Once you're a taker, to be able to still raise the animalistic part of us to a higher level, which is the neshama, the das, the head, what do you do on your table? If you still go with the flow and act like as a behema, chas v'shalom, this fall and it's not a table. So the purpose is to take this name to this name. Together, it's bein adam, a person. 4 times these names, Yud Ke Vav Ke, which is in Olam Asiya, Yud Ke Vav Ke, the second one in Olam HaYetzira, together 97, Gematria Ben Adam. At least when you put them together, you're not Adam, but you're Ben Adam. You have raised the behemoth. Now you're going to multiply it by 4. You have Shulchan. Ze ha-Shulchan asher lifnei Hashem. 388 equals Shulchan. And that's the pasuk, Ze ha-Shulchan asher lifnei Hashem. Ze ha-Shulchan. Because you're attaching the name Yud Ke Vav Ke, Shakai, and Tiferes, Yesoid, and Malchus. The 3 in the same line. The middle line, you're bringing Rachamim and you're bringing brachas from this direct line. Tiferes, Shakai, and Adnos. Lifnei Hashem is 196. What is 196? Is when the right hand, so the hand of the chesed hits, so yad is 14, hits the left hand, which is the gvura that wants to try to punish the person because nobody's perfect. The right hand comes and hit. That's what it means yad tam yad. 14 times 14 equals 196. However, 196 equals also Yam Suf. What's a Sufa? It's a hurricane. What do we call him Yam Suf? the yam of the hurricanes? No, hurricanes are in Florida. They're not in the Red Sea. So why do we call it the yam of the hurricane? No, we're talking over there when it's Yam Suf. Why did we call it Yam Kriyas Yam Suf? Because at that time the Malach of the Mitzrayim called HaKadosh Baruch Hu in Din. There was the Dinim. And since there was a very big din in Shamayim, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself went to the base in Shamayla to answer the complaint of the Malach of the Egyptians, the whole world was in turmoil. The HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself goes to din. That's what it's called Yam Suf. So a person is either Lifnei Hashem or is in Yam Suf. Again, the antipodes of the world. Nothing is going to be close here. However, the person who accomplishes what he's supposed to accomplish, he is Lifnei Hashem. And when Hashem shines and you before Hashem, nobody from the evil side is going to allow himself to come and try to cross the border and bother a person that stands before Hashem, because he won't last a second. However, a person who is in the Yam Suf doesn't see the sun, unfortunately. He's taking in the turmoil of the hurricane in the ocean and can get to shore, like Yonah. So what is HaKadosh Moshe Rabbeinu tell us? Let's see. So we said, that's what we talk Kol HaMitzvah. Do we have a proof? Kol HaMitzvah equals 196. Lifnei Hashem or Yam Suf. Which mitzvah gives you this opportunity to be either before Hashem or Chas v'Shalom, the punishment to be in Yam Suf? The table. We're talking about Kol HaMitzvah. That's why he changed the language here to tell us, look behind the words, look behind the letters, and you will find which mitzvah I'm talking about. Is that famous mitzvah where you have to use the power of a behemoth. Feed yourself. The Pele Yoetz says, when a person sits on the table to eat, he should look at the head of the table, because if he was able to see, he would see the Satan sitting at the head of the table. You think you're sitting at the head of the table? You're not sitting there. The Satan is sitting at the head of the table. What he means by this, it means this is a danger. A baby, since we're born, we learn how to get, how to take. We takers. However, if you ever want to go up the ladder of Yaakov Avinu and get to Shamayim, you have to stop taking. You have to be giving. And once a person is a giver, that's the refuah. This is the remedy. He's on the right road for recovering. He's going to make the right tshuva. Everything will fall in place for him the right way. But he has to stop. However, the main mitzvah that's going to provide me my parnasa and it's going to affect my neshama is in a danger zone when we're sitting on the table. It makes no sense. So why is it? Because here you have to serve Hashem, and it says bechol levavecha, with all your heart. I don't know if I have the pasuk. I brought it here at all. No, it's at the end of this of Ches. It says bechol levavecha. It says bechol libecha, with your heart. You have to accomplish the mitzvahs with your heart. What's bechol levavecha? No, because you never completing the mitzvah unless you're using the power of the other side in order to be able to accomplish the mission in this world, you have to go down to the lower level, go find the sparkles that fell there because we have, misbehaved, make a chet or whatever, and bring it back up. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees a sparkle coming back to him, it's described the Simcha in Shamayim tremendously. HaKadosh Baruch Hu tell all the Malachim, and the Malachim tell all the worlds, look at the present, this one, and Ploini and Ploini, this and this, so and so has done to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's considered a chesed to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The bracha on the table is the most important bracha. The Ari HaKadosh says that he has reached his level to become the Ari HaKadosh only because he was extremely careful before he ate to always say the bracha very clearly and with intent. I'm giving you a lot of assumptions right now. You may think I'm out of the pshat, but we're going to find everything I'm telling you in the words of the pasuk. On the very words that we had questions, those very words are the one that guide us to understand exactly what is Moshe Rabbeinu telling the Bnei Israel. If we take we're going to take this. Asher anochi mitzavecha hayoi. This equals to 799. 799, it's a hard number, I tell you, to find a gematria, sweated blood. But the name in the das, so there are 3 meters, right? Let me take you back to the, here. We don't see the das, it's right here in the back, Chochma, Bina, Das. These 3, you find them, one on the right side, Chesed, Bina on the Gvura, the Din side, and the Das is the head of the Chasadim side. And everything in the world, so these 2 pour everything they have in the Das. From the Das, he goes to Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, and then he goes down. So really, the Das is required because Vav is Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, the 6. The 6 meters are the Vav. Hey is Malchus. Yud is Chachma. Hey is Bina. Yud, K, Vav, K. And this is how you have the 10 spheres. So, Das sustained when a person that's crazy, obviously, cannot enjoy life. At every aspect, you cannot be anything unless you have Das. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world, he created the world with Das, that it should all be standing in logic, requires the main thing to function this world requires Das. How do we know that? Aleph Es, Hey Hashamayim, Vav Ve'es, Hey Haaretz. You remember that pasuk in Bereshit? Es Hashamayim Ve'es Haaretz. He did it with that name. Times the name in the Chachma with the name in the Bina. Interesting. We have exactly our tree. I'll explain what it means, this multiplication. Every time you have a multiplication in the names, it means they're hitting each other to produce light. In other words, when a person is putting das in the mitzvah, is unifying the Yud K and force them, they are the source of all the light. They are the source, the father and the mother, they are providing the new neshamas. They are providing the bounties. But how do you get them together? With a das. How do you know a person likes, a guy's going shidduch, he says, I like that girl, or this girl says, I like that guy. What do you mean, I like? I mean, in my das tells me fits well, and I would have a good life with him, and I feel emotionally attracted, and so forth. So it's always coming back to the das. The das is the center of the world. As the world cannot exist without sky, heaven, and earth, cannot exist without das. So once the das comes into the table, automatically you trigger the Yud K to start producing Shefa and Bracha. Remember, if I would tell you here, there's a tzaddik coming to town or something like this, a mekubal that you never heard of, that can do magic, you won't even vet him. You'll go to him. Everybody has a problem. You won't vet him. And you'll pour out your heart. What can he do, even though he can do nothing? But, you'll try. But we have a haftacha. Birkas Hashem, he tashir. Only Shlomo HaMelech says with his chokhmah, only the bracha of HaKadosh Baruch Hu will make a person wealthy. We can tap into the bracha from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So why would you want to tap into the bracha of, I don't mean to belittle Chas v'Shalom anyone, but definitely in this generation, you don't have the level of Mekubalim, you want to know if they're tzaddikim? Yes, big time tzaddikim. David Grossman from Emek HaMelech, I'm telling you something. We're talking a caliber of all generations. Reb Meir Biderman, definitely a big tzaddik. Big, this, for sure I wouldn't have a problem. But if I tell you, so-and-so comes, and he will read in your hand, or he will read in this on the palm of your foot, or whatever, mishigas, I don't know what. You stop right there, and you go to your table, and when you make the bracha, you make the bracha with intent, because that intent is what's going to trigger the chokhmah and the bina to get together and produce the bracha that you need. That's what you need. We said guf neshama, right? Mishpatim gives us the taste of the antipodes we have. Here we have neshama versus parnasa. When you're in a table, you're in danger of losing your neshama, but you cannot avoid being at the table because the table is what's going to feed you. You parnasa is coming, you remember, through the challah, Shabbos on the table and everything. So you need the table in order to gain your parnasa. Parnasa, neshama, 395 equals they equal each other. It doesn't go one without the other. In other words, you have no choice, and I have no choice, and no one has a choice. And that's what Moshe Rabbeinu says, Kol ha-mitzvah, to raise your body, the goof to the neshama. You want parnasa? Yeah, it's on the table. There's plenty of it. Plenty of it. I don't get it. Okay. You have a hole in the pocket. Where is the hole? How you behave on your table. Instead of raising yourself, you're lowering yourself. You're lowering the table. So the shepherd goes to someone else. They're going next door. But it doesn't go to you. And that's the reason you don't get it. But really, you were loaded. Before you were born, you were loaded a certain amount of money. And you should get it. I'm not getting it. Check what you do on your table. Life of a person is on his table. Once you're using the tools of the Yetzer Hara in order to enhance yourself, that's what you do. Now, we said Moshe Rabbeinu told in plural, and we're going to close on this, starting closing on the last thing we asked. First word that he jumped to plural. What is he talking about, Moshe Rabbeinu? What's hidden here in his intention? This equals to 1802. Forgot the sign. Equals 1802. Moshe Rabbeinu tells you, every time you sit on your table, you have a guest. Pay attention. What do you have to pay attention to? The Satan is there and his wife is there, the Malach HaMaves. Both of them are there. These are your guests. And then we asked the question, even though now we understand leman tichyun, why plural also, because so now you understand tishmerun la'aso, it's plural because you have a bunch of guests coming to the house on your table. Leman tichyun, because you have to live, and we're talking about the two lives. But if we take and we go under here, we have a tremendous remez from Moshe Rabbeinu. This equals to 1322 equals twice. Yeah, I should put times 2. Okay, like this, it's clear. So we have Esther time 2. What it means Esther time 2? Leman tichyun, when the Bina descends from Olam Ha'atzilus, the upper world, to the Bria, he needs to get, if he would come with its light that he has on the upper world, he will burn everything. So he needs to wear something. You remember when Esther went to the Chashverosh, she says, Vatilbash Esther Malchus. I explained you this on the Shiur of Purim, but you don't remember. What it means, Esther wore Malchus. No, big de Malchus, anything. And we explained, if I'm not mistaken, I saw it first in Daria Kodesh, this. But, you know, you find it in every, in the Emek HaMelech, you know, a lot of the Sfarim bring it. If we're going to write Esther in full, Aleph, Samech, Tav, Reish. Vatilbash Esther Malchus. And we're going to leave the outer letters because this is the levush, Esther, the one outside. And we're only going to take the inner letters, which is the bina, which is inside in the pnimius of Esther. Sorry, I said the bina, it's the Malchus. Vatilbash Esther Malchus. So if we remove the Esther, which is the levush, you understand why now the Malchus from Atzilus, when he goes down, I said the Bina all along. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. I was only talking about the Malchus here. So when he comes down to Olam HaBeria, he needs to wear another filter in order not to burn everything in Olam HaBeria. Even the Malachim could not sustain the light, the oil of Olam Atzilus. So, and this is so once we say Leman Tichyun Urvisem, Moshe Rabbeinu said, you will be Zoiche to the life. Haaretz, the Ramak, Moshe Kadovero says, whenever it says Eretz Yisrael, we're talking about the land that we know of Eretz Yisrael. Whenever it says Haaretz, we're not talking about the land. We're talking about the Malchus. So in Pardes remaining, Berg Chav Gimel, Erech, Eretz. It's a very well-known Ramak, because everybody bases, that's how we touch the Psukim. So we reach them as Haaretz, you will inherit the land. Not the land of Eretz Yisrael, the land, the Malchus. Which Malchus? The upper Malchus and the lower Malchus. The Malchus in Olam Haba Elyon and the Malchus when it's lower here in this world. So you will get, because the Malchus is the Be'er. We started the Shiur saying the Malchus is the Be'er. The Be'er is 203. And once you behave on your table, you're getting from the Be'er the other 203, Chaye, Bane, Mezoine. That's what you're getting from. We see that Mamish from the beginning of the Parsha, Moshe Rabbeinu is Mezarez, urges the Bnei Yisrael to be extremely careful about before all the other mitzvahs, because all the mitzvahs we're going to talk to the next few parashiyos are mitzvahs that are related to the guf. And the main thing that can take the guf and purify it more than the biggest mikveh and bring it up to the level of a neshama is your behavior on the table. And especially on Shabbos. Because Shabbos is when the panasa of the shefa comes through the chalas. Okay, I have to stop.